Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equities Story. I'm with the amazing Wolf, and this is just general share advice and not personal advice, as per this disclaimer you can read here on the website. Wolf, you know what? It's quite interesting because the market's a little bit down, still a bit lackluster. I just have a look at the markets in a way. Maybe if you don't mind, so Wolf, let's have a look at it on the monthly, so we can see what the sort of trend is. So what we're sort of thinking is that, this month, we're not going to get higher than the high, and we're most probably going to just roll down here a little bit over next month or so, maybe back to 7,000, maybe lower. So the general sort of consensus, I think, is largely down, but saying that, Wolfie, at the moment, a lot of shares are still trending, and some look still very, very good on the charts. So I think it's a matter of just getting into the right stories, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, there could be some shocks here and there, with the debt ceiling. God knows. I mean, the closer it gets to that deadline, there might be some market shocks where they get scared and sell off. So it could be volatile, but
they always come good at the last minute, right? So
true, but you never know. I mean, that's the thing. You just don't know how conflicted those two sides are.
I know it's gonna be interesting. So we'll see. I think there's a lot of sort of bargaining going on between both sides at the moment.
There is.
Wolf, 360. So there's a number of stories today. They've all announced. I think they're all trendable. A number of them really trendable. We're just in this market the way it is. We just will wait to the end of the week, and then if they're still looking good, and we can trend them. And I'm going to go through them one by one. And certainly, people, again, I wouldn't be buying that on the daily chart. So we just need to wait to the end of the week. 360.
Yep.
500 million, like you're saying, in revenues. Still not profitable. Can this trend, Wolf? Could it trend?
It can trend. They are still growing at about a 30% clip, right, on a yearly basis. So that's still very commendable on some pretty hefty revenue numbers. The other plus is they've hit their target of becoming EBITDA positive 1 quarter earlier, right? That's a big plus, of course, because that right now the number one thing for investors is profitability. So they are on track, but still unprofitable on the bottom line, which is the profit, right? It's profitable on EBITDA line, but it's unprofitable on the bottom line. So there's still work to be done, of course, but it's not a bad story. I mean, and you can see there's definitely some merit in the story where they're actually getting their revenues not out of advertising like some of the other big Twitters of the world and Facebooks and so on. They're actually getting their revenues out of selling the products, right? Not just advertising. They're actually selling products here. So you've got to give them credit for that. So look, I don't mind this story, but there's something still not quite right for me. And I'm still maybe not quite over this story that this is my cup of tea, but it's trendable for sure.
Right. Another story, it's sort of in the same boat, but again, I mean, the price action, it looks like that by the end of the week, we're trending it, Wolf. Very, very good. I'll tell you what, it's sort of, last few weeks it broke above trend, but now this is the buy. This looks like this by the end of the week. You're in this. So I'm really liking these first two. And again, I'm going to trade them off the weekly, Wolf, in this market. So it's too soon for me yet, but yummy, Wolf. Can this go on with it?
Look, you've got to be careful with things like this. Is building products, right? Problem is, it's swimming against the tide because the tide in its space, which is the building material, it's not doing fantastically well. And, pretty much globally, everyone wants to push down the growth because they want to get the inflation. So that's the headwinds for JHX. But what they've done well is they haven't grown too much on the top line, which is the revenue side, right? I think about 4%. But what they've done well, it cut costs and grown the bottom line by, so increase the margin and grow by about 14%. So they're doing something right. But how long that continue, I don't know. So I think this is like a short-lived type trade, but it's tradable for sure because it's a big company.
Wolf, it's extraordinary to lift their margins in such a difficult time. You've got to take your hats off to the company. Now, another company, again, that's saying buy me is DVP. So again, I think I've got to wait to the end of the week. But some positive drill results, Wolf, on is it Woodland?
Yeah, Woodlawn is actually one of those what do you call it, assets that Bill Beeman bought on a cheap from administrators, right? I think they put in like $500 million in his previous owners, and picked that up for about 20. I mean, you see this quite over and over again, where some clever dudes comes in, buys an old mine that was in the receivership, and then all of a sudden it looks great, right? Because obviously they know what they're doing. So I like this. Actually, I like this strategy. He's obviously a great mind, right? Where he can turn old mines, like we've seen with NSD and good old Paulson's, which is another one of those bought out of, on the cheap, and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar, conglomerate. So for me, this is the similar path. Plus, they've also got revenues because they've got a mining services as well to this. So the strategy, and I can see into the future because I'm a
psychic.
Prophet, really, exactly. So I can see this multi-billion-dollar company in the future sometime, if he keeps playing these cards absolutely like he's doing at the moment. So tradable for sure. Again.
All right. Now CTT, it's where I think it's where you get all your stuff now, isn't it? All that posh stuff and Wolf.
Gucci, all this sort of stuff that I buy. It's Armani, this is all just stuff I normally wear every day.
And I'll tell you what, hats off to them because this sort of market, I mean, by the way, you get in now, you got a 30% discount. So some new.
I'm just not sold on this company, unfortunately. Look, it could be great because of course, if you can pick up great names, big names, cheaper, instead of paying $10,000, you pick it up for $8,000. Great, what a saving.
I mean, I can't believe it though, like $200 for a t-shirt. But I mean, this is like the real top.
It's a big market for this. This is the thing. This is a big market. A lot of people just love the status of having great names, right, to wear. So I understand, right? These companies, if they play it well, they could do quite well because big names, if you can get a discount, there'll be a lot of attraction to it. From me, I mean, I go to Europe to buy my special stuff. The only brand I really like, Dave, is Hugo Boss, right? So I go to Europe once every couple of years and I buy myself a couple of t-shirts. That's it. On the cheap.
I'm just
so I can do it.
If anybody complains about the Equity Story membership ever again, when I see $873 for a hoodie, come on. $400 for, I mean,
look at Saint Laurent coat, $2,000 something. I mean, exactly.
but they're doing well. So
it's tradable. It's tradable. It may be not my cup of tea, but you can understand the merit here, right? Where people are still, there's a percentage of population that loves to wear brands.
All right. Okay. Anyway, well, again, we'll wait till the end of the week. There's been a lot of weekly resistance.
Dave, you and me, normally go to Kmart to buy our clothes, right? But there's obviously people out there that love this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think we go that posh, do we? Wolf, Promedicus, yes. Another contract win should help it hold above trend.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Look, I think it's just you can see that slowing down, right? So you had that 7 or 8 weeks now. It's slowing down to that beautiful blue line, and maybe it will bounce, and maybe there will be a nice trade happening soon.
And SND, a little bit sold down. Yeah, I think that's the low around that dollar, Wolf.
That's a nice contract win, Dave. This is a single year contract, $12 million. That's pretty impressive. I know the margins might be low, right? They might get $1 million out of it, right? Profit on the 12 million contract, but still, it all adds up, and good on them. And I think this probably should bounce. It's lightly traded, but the company's not expensive, not a bad div. It's just lightly traded.
Well, I think it will bounce because if you want to buy it, you've got to pay 113, which is above here, right? Yeah. So
I wish the companies had a little bit more stock on issue and there's more trading to be on, because some of these really deserve to be higher than they are.
All right. So listen, just to cap it, we've got some really interesting stocks that could look good on the weekend, Wolf. We've got 360, JHX, DVP. DVP most probably you pick your favorite out of those. CTT, number of stocks. I think PME will hold there. You could have a nibble here. Stop loss just under that 58.75. And SND will most probably bounce. So there's plenty of ideas there in those 6 little stocks.
Agree.
All right. On that note, thank you very much, Sir Wolf. And
Don't forget
tonight,
Dave.
tonight live, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Live night tonight, ATA. Ask us anything.
Anything. All right. Literally anything. All right. All right. See you, Wolf. See you, mate. Take care. Bye.